Hey, it's Lovett here to share a great episode of Crooked's subscription-exclusive show, Terminally Online. If you're not familiar, Terminally Online features a revolving cast of guests, including your favorite Crooked hosts and staff, engaged in off-the-cuff conversation about all the things that made us feel way too online while making Crooked shows every week. In the episode you're about to hear, I'm joined by Ruined host Halle Kiefer and producers Elijah Cohn and Brian Semel as we admire Pinkydoll's entrepreneurship and ponder which presidential grave we would serenade. If you like Terminally Online, which you will, and want to listen every week, which you will, subscribe to Friends of the Pod now at crooked.com/friends. You also get ad-free episodes of Pod Save America, and you get access to our subscriber-only Discord, which is kind of like a Slack where you get to hang with other friends of the pod and Crooked hosts and Crooked staff. And when you join at the best friends level, your subscription includes a monthly $10 donation to Vote Save America, powering our grassroots organizing work in all 50 states and DC. That's crooked.com/friends. Now, listen to the episode.
Terminally Online, episode 19. Mark?
Welcome to Terminally Online, the Crooked subscription show. I'm Elijah Cohn.
I'm Jon Lovett.
I'm Halle Kiefer.
And I'm Brian, producer Brian.
Producer of Love It or Leave It.
That's true.
This is a chance for us to commiserate about being way too online as we make the shows here at Crooked Media and cover the news. I'd love to start with some audience questions. It's a Love It or Leave It panel, and we have some Love It or Leave It questions.
Okay.
This is a joint question from Wendy and Steven with an A, Stefan. Halle and Brian, what are your favorite Love It wrangling techniques? Who makes the call about letting Love It be Love It versus keeping the show on track?
Wow, that's a good. I have to say that is a good question.
I'll be honest. I don't know if I've ever said this. I have a methodology.
Ooh.
And the methodology is, for the most part, I'm mommy and someone else is daddy.
Oh, God.
And I know that sounds perverse, but what I mean by that is I am there to be supportive no matter what. Somebody else has to come in and be stern with him. I'm not going to do that.
So in your experience...
Oh, not my family, no. But the archetypes of a mother and a father.
Okay.
The authoritarian father. That's why it's God the Father, you know. And then the Virgin Mary. These are very Catholic concepts. Okay. So I will often be a producer, not usually Brian, but someone else who has to come in and be father, and I just be mommy.
No, it's actually weird that you're saying this now, because my methodology actually is I'm mommy.
Oh my God.
I think we're both mommy, and then the people who are usually daddy are either Kendra or Dunphy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you didn't know
yells.
this.
Daddy yells.
Daddy comes in and says, "Here's what's going to happen," and I say, "You're doing great, sweetie.
Just wait until your father gets home."
That's literally my approach.
No, my actual methodology is I go into his office and I close the door and I say, "You can't leave until you answer my questions."
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've all been there.
Listen, all right? I'm a free spirit, all right?
Yeah.
And thank you for all that you do.
I also make cuts with abandon and don't tell him.
Yes, I support that. I do support. Cut.
And Lovett has said on stage, so I feel like it's okay to repeat this, that you describe yourself as a Ron Burgundy type. So if it's on the card, you will read it, and that is true. So honestly, thank God for those cuts.
Yeah, and so let Love It be Love It versus keeping the show on track. The show is called Love It or Leave It, not Love It or keep the show on track. So it's what you're getting.
Yeah, it's in the brand.
But I also think you trust us, and that's what makes all this possible. Like, if you didn't trust our judgment, you would have told us already.
Also, keep this show on track. I'm not even sure what that looks like.
We get them on stage, and then it's out of our hands.
It's in the cards. We
It's in
finished
the cards.
The show is in the cards.
Exactly.
The show is
but
the
you
cards.
are also the show, and that's the pressure
All
you live
right.
under as an artist.
Well, Halle, I think your strategy is working perfectly, because all these people telling me what I don't want to hear, I can't stand them. But
Exactly.
you, I have nothing but a positive.
You're
I
doing
see you.
great.
I see you. I know I'm going to get good news.
But
And
also,
I can't. It's like, hey, oh, Halle's here. It's going to be great. Oh, Brian's got a question.
What? I'm mommy too.
you switch back and forth. You're a switch. You've always been.
I can't.
You heard it here first.
I can't.
You heard it here
Move it
last.
along. Move it along. Next question, Elijah. Dead air.
Hey-o.
My goodness.
Sagi wants to know, how much involvement do guests have in the planning of their segment before the show, especially those character sketches, or does it vary?
That's a great question. They have zero involvement until they're on stage, and then they go absolutely rogue. And then we find out whether they read it in advance or not.
I will say we have a rule, which I think is a good rule, is we make sure that people get the sketches at least the night before so that they can look it over at night and make changes they want during the day. Some people do. Some people do edits.
Yeah, I would say a Chris Fleming, who was at our San Francisco shows, and like a Kylie Brakeman, who we've had on before. I feel like they feel more comfortable making edits to sketches versus sometimes people if they're on for the first time, they are less likely to do that. But they're able to do edits, and then we have had people refuse to do things or come back and be like, I don't want to do that. So they obviously can veto an idea if they don't like it.
But that was early.
Yeah.
Fun. This is true behind the scenes. I love it. Let's go do the Terminally Online segment.
Great.
Jon Lovett, what is the moment you realized that you were too online this week? I know the moment. I'm excited already.
Okay, so you may have seen this. You may not have seen this, but a clip has been making the rounds, or a number of clips of an influencer have been making the rounds that capture a certain reality of our dystopia. Like, it kind of reduces everything that is wrong with social media into one clip, and I think we should show you that clip.
Thank you, CR. Thank you, Kiki. Ice cream so good. It was you, Max. Pop, amazing. Ice cream so good.
So, Lovett, what are we looking at?
So
I was going to let it.
CR.
Let's get it off. Let's get it off. It's absolutely horrible. So what we are looking at is a young woman to camera pretending to be an NPC from a video game. It's a non-playable character doing repetitive non-playable character NPC actions at the behest of live viewers. So this is a TikTok live. And so if you send her a rose, she provides one response. If you send ice cream, she says something like, ice cream so good, and then licks. But people are sending dozens and dozens and dozens of these emojis, and so she is repeating this over and over and over again. There's a particularly chilling moment where she breaks character, sends her child to bed, and then gets back into character, which is a real gut punch.
It's real mommy behavior.
So no one...
She is mommy.
I saw this. I didn't see discourse. Usually with trends like this, you see the discourse first. I didn't see the discourse first. I saw this first. This came across my transom on TikTok.
Your what?
The transom.
What's the transom?
Transom is a little window above a door, I believe. And
Yeah.
So this
I know what those are.
So it came over the transom.
Liar.
What? I
And
believe he knew. But...
I like, what am I looking at? Why is this person doing that? It turns out that this woman who lives in Montreal discovered or figured out that there was a few other people have done this. So I don't know if she was first, that there is a market for pretending to be an NPC. I think there is a sexual element to this for a lot of the viewers, myself included. And but there is money to be made because somehow I don't totally understand how the economy of these little gifts works, but you buy you give TikTok money, you buy these things, you give them it as it's a gift. You're sending like a digital gift, and then the person who received the gift can then turn around and convert those things into money. This person was clearly doing that and making a lot of money day to day, or so the reports would suggest. Other people started catching on to this. Others were doing this. I don't know if this woman was exactly first.
She's the best. She went viral, but she's the best.
I've seen some others. No one's doing it like her.
So this has now caught on like wildfire. And what's interesting is it feels a little bit like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because there's a path that a TikTok person goes down. It starts with, have you seen this shit? This is crazy. Step 2, I heard they're making real money doing this. Step 3, if you see me doing this, say nothing. Just shut the fuck up and let me get my money. All right? If you see me doing this, I mean, I'm not going to do it, but if you see me doing it, don't say anything, okay? Step 4, they're fucking doing it. And they're a little bit ironic. Like, there's a lot of people doing it and then laughing as they do it. Then step 5, they're like, I made $600 in an hour and a half. That's better than my normal job. Step 6, they're just fucking fully in. I went to TikTok. This is not the algorithm. Like, I mean, there's the algorithm feeding it to me, but I didn't with the clip that we're about to show. I made this clip. When I went to TikTok Live, this is what popped up for me.
Oh my God.
It's a man. What we're looking at is a guy doing this. People are getting more and more unhinged. This is a man in a bathtub filled with water, standing up and sitting back down, pretending one of his repetitive motions is flicking an ice cream cone. One of them is kicking the water over and over and over again. Just to show you how many people are doing this all at once now, all the time. Literally, I just opened TikTok Live. This is what happens when you scroll through TikTok Live. An NPC motion.
Elote. For me? Divine. Thank you for the share. Thank you for the follow.
Please, I won't be here by the end of this live if you continue. Angela keeps scrolling. Brisa, thank you for the road.
And then it was somebody playing Elden Ring. But we're at the end.
I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Okay.
I do too. I would do this unprompted.
Yeah. I mean, I think to me, it's like we're analyzing it from the perspective of would we do this? When in fact, what it should be analyzed is who are these people with this money who are paying this, and why would you pay something to this?
And those people, I'm positive, would like me to do this.
I think we absolutely should be doing this, and I'll be honest, like, it can't hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, if you want the extra money, you should just be doing it.
And I was raised ice cream so good, so it's actually not that.
And ice cream is so good, popcorn gang, absolutely.
And I'm always saying that.
There was one person who was doing it, and the commenters were all just trying to make her laugh, and she's like, "Stop it! I'm really doing this now. This is really what I'm doing. So everyone chill out." But she couldn't stop breaking character because it's so ridiculous. No, look, to be clear, you know. I think that there's a judgment on this. I have a judgment on a society that reduces people to this. But, you know, the idea that what they're doing has less dignity because it makes us uncomfortable to imagine putting ourselves in that position is not, to me, at issue. What is at issue is an economy on TikTok in which all of these people have realized that there is so much money to be made in competing in this very empty way to get people's attention and to hold it. And there's a lot of different ways. This is one version of it, but there's also one little way people compete for each other for attention on TikTok Live is they will take a picture and they will say, there are 7 things wrong with this picture. There's nothing wrong with the picture.
Oh, that's
and
smart.
And just to hold people's attention. And
that's very smart.
There's just short term. There's just like money to be made by just getting someone to stay on your live. And that's a gross economy that TikTok is making.
I also think this is just capitalism. It's like if somebody finds a way to make money, and also all the people doing this are all young, and I think almost all of them were Black or people of color. That's not a coincidence. Like, we live in an incredibly expensive society. You know, I mean, that's America, but like everywhere. It's like the idea that you wouldn't do something as off-putting or odd as it would be in order to afford to live in where we're at. I don't know. I just see this. I'm like, yeah, there are way worse jobs to have. We're putting kids in slaughterhouses. Like, there's a lot going on.
I
to
mean,
see
they are
this,
teens.
it's like,
Yeah. Also, my take isn't so like Orwellian. It's more like this is kind of like karaoke. Like I would do this live with my friends in person.
Well, I think I think what makes people uncomfortable. It is a version of karaoke, but it's more like it's the pornification. It's like it's bringing like OnlyFans and cam culture to social media and kind of like recognizing that these things actually do meet in the middle, because a lot of these creators, not the ones we just saw, but although adjacent to them and maybe some of them, like it is very sexual and people do skirt the lines to keep people watching.
and I think
There's
it's
a lot of feet. There's a lot
sure.
of feet. Hey,
No.
and one thing I want to point out is there's a lot of feet.
Oh, well, this doesn't sound so bad. All right.
Thank you, Elijah.
Yeah,
I think
give
if
it a
anything,
shot. I'll check it out.
there's something more. I think that it's like that's more honest. I feel like there is something where traditionally the idea of looking down on people who do sex work is sort of like seen as a moral issue rather than what it is, which is an economic issue. So for me, it's like, yeah, if I'm already doing this, again, like, how do you afford rent? Like, do you put your feet online? You put your feet online.
Well,
You got to pretend to be a little robot. You be a little robot gal.
I think there's certainly like could be a level of desperation here, but I'm also like, this looks like a fun way to make a buck. Like this is like Dance Dance Revolution. You get attention, you get a little money, you get a flirt. Like,
Oh yeah, no,
I
this is not to
totally
look
get
down
it.
on it. I'm just saying, like, I refuse to look down on it, even if I do find it off-putting, because I don't know. It's like, what are you gonna do? Not make money doing something silly? Of course you're gonna do that.
Watching a person go from, like, can you believe, like, what is this, to doing it was a really strange path to watch someone walk.
How are feet involved? Where's
You
how
just
are
see
feet
their
involved?
feet. Well, the guy in the bathtub, you saw his feet, so I
I think
imagine
so.
that's for somebody.
I think sometimes there are people that's like, you know what, I'm gonna be doing NPC shit on here, but you'll see my toes the whole time. Don't you worry about that.
And I do want to, it's like, who, I guess it's sort of like, I don't know, it's like every online segment of sex work where it's like, who are these people spending this money? But I'm coming from a place of like, I'm so miserly, I would never spend my money on something like this. But again, not in judgment, just sort of like, what are you going to spend money? Just send it to someone on the internet? I'm not going to do that. Versus clearly whoever's paying is getting something out of this.
Well, that's the difference between being mommy and being daddy.
Exactly. And that's true.
Yeah, Pinkydoll's #1 contributor is Timbaland, the producer. So that's cool. Love it. That's true. That is true. You guys didn't know that? That's
My
a
jaw
major part of the
dropped.
story.
I didn't know that.
Weirdly respect.
Yes.
Again, like, I did not approach this as like a meta text or analysis. I primarily confronted this at the coalface.
So are you going to do it, and will you show feet while you're doing it? And if so, why not do it for friends of the pod? Vote whether or not, let us know whether or not you want to see Lovett do this, please.
What
Splash
tier is that?
around.
This is phase 2 for you. Isn't this weird? And now you're going down the rabbit hole.
Think about how much money you can make.
Yeah.
New so bad. Yum, yum, yum. Thanks.
Trump bad. Got that.
Indict.
Trump bad. New so bad.
I mean,
New
isn't
so
that
bad.
what we're all doing on some level?
Wait, what's the name of the little window above the door?
It's a transom.
Yeah.
So you're like, I just recently watched Chernobyl for some reason. You look directly into the core. You have radiation poisoning. This is something, you know, we're all exposed to it, but you really got blasted with it. I think you're in the hospital at least.
Yeah.
4 out of 5 here.
Thank you. I think that's right.
The internet increases our things that become acceptable. I think, like, we see something in, like, before social media was what it was, I think it would have taken us a little longer to come around, like, understand it. And now we're seeing the process of how it becomes not only normalized, but then other people are doing it so quickly. So I do agree that is what you saw, is how social media changes the game so quickly. I'd say that's a 5.
Yeah, I think for me it's like, how impossible would this be to explain to like my parents? And I think like entirely, like a hundo p. Like
yeah,
nice. Like
No.
if like anyone I was related to walked in on me watching this, they'd be like, oh my god, like I'm so sorry.
I was jerking
I
off.
should have knocked. I should have knocked.
It's sexual. I was having sex. Like, that to me is more understandable than like I was just doing it
Yeah, I agree.
for no reason, for
Yeah.
some whatever obscure reason.
Yeah, so 4 is good
Yeah.
for me.
Okay. I'll take it.
I understand. We'll see. It could go terminal. We'll see where you are in a week.
Listen, if I'm still thinking about this at all after we are done recording, put me in the ground.
Also, shout out Pinkydoll again, doing it like nobody else.
Yeah,
Well, that was right.
$7,000 for a day of streaming. Congrats.
And again,
Yes.
like I
A lot of money.
said, when we're all 80 and jacked with our feet out, living in the Amazon warehouse / dorm where we all live, this is all going to seem so quaint. This is all going to seem so naive.
Hallie, when were you two online this week?
Well, I do actually have, so like one time, Brian, I had to do that I found out about a new fruit because I just wasn't online that week. But I do actually have
You were a
something.
new fruit quite recently.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm a year into being a new fruit.
Mazel.
And this is like that producer Kendra sent the Crooked Slack, and I think we're gonna show a video here. And just to contextualize it, it's a young gentleman, and the caption is "Performing Barbie World" by Ice Spice and Nicki Minaj for President Lyndon B. Johnson. So he is performing this song on the grave and to the gravestone. So this is user the boy rabbit with 2 A's 01. His name is Ben, and he does a number of performances. Let's see, he's done Soul Train, he's done You Wish by Flayana Boss, a lot of newer hits. Again, dancing on what he claims to be the grave of Lyndon B. Johnson. I don't know whether he wants the former president of the United States to know the songs or if he just was there. But the reason that I'm online is I was trying to Google, I'm looking at this person's TikTok profile. This says Western Michigan. And I said, that's interesting. I didn't know LBJ was from Michigan. And I looked, and he's not. He's buried in Texas. And so he's just dancing in front of a tombstone that says Johnson. But I was so ready to accept that this was LBJ's gravestone, and only by digging a little further did I realize, no, he just decided that he will make people watch it by claiming it to be a former president's gravestone, and he has almost 1 million views on that particular TikTok. So shout out to him, I suppose, for furthering engagement. And also, I was more online because the fact that I even tried to Google it to me was very online for me.
If you had to sing a song to the grave of a president, what would the song be?
Kissed by a Rose by Seal. And I guess it would be on Abraham Lincoln's grave.
Okay. Why him?
Wow.
He just, like, I wouldn't go out of my way to sing on anyone else's grave, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was visiting his grave to pay my respects, I'd want it to be a song from one of the Batman movies, and that one's the first one that came to mind. Because you never got to see any of the Batman movies. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say Defying Gravity, James K. Polk, no follow-up questions.
Great. And then Brian?
I think Valerie to JFK.
Valerie, is that the
that's
Amy
right.
Winehouse song?
That's the best one.
The Amy Winehouse
Yeah.
one. Which is actually a cover.
Never mind.
No, actually a cover.
Oh, it's the cover.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, because JFK's in the news because RFK Jr.'s in the news.
Right, yeah.
He's like, what's going on? What's going on up there?
Yeah.
I mean, down there, wherever you think he is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I thought when I saw a person rapping at what I until this moment thought was the gravesite of
Please.
the Great Society author and president Lyndon Baines Johnson. What I thought was there are still new ideas out there.
Yeah, 100%.
Like there is still ways that you can innovate.
Express yourself.
It's like people point out that like it used to be a scientist, like you would just like sit in your room and be like, what is the universe?
Mm-hmm.
You'd write it down and people would be like, museums, name them after him. And now you have to like spend 20 years researching like a specific site on a specific cell wall to get the Nobel. And like the same thing feels true in like inventions. It's like it feels like it's like harder. You have to like work harder with more people, know more. But no, there are still simple, cool ideas out there.
Easily executed.
I'm gonna rap at a grave, brand new. Has anyone done that at a grave?
What are some like old-timey inventors and thinkers that you think are overrated because they were just thinking in their bedrooms?
Sigmund Freud.
And
Oh, nice. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, if he gave us one of those
there's a
NCPs
subconscious, and you want to fuck your mom, and there's a Freudian death drive deep within inside your body, which is why you want to jump off of a building.
And everyone's like, hell
yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
hell
yes.
Yeah.
All the men at the time were like, finally, someone's.
I agree. I agree.
I agree.
Like that shit, that stuff just worked for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just
he
said
had
it
like a
with
robust clinical practice, but
yeah, where are those people? Dead.
Dead,
as
Brian.
disco. Wanna know what we should do? Dance on their graves.
And I will say, in case you're listening to this and you are someone who is spending your time, like developing, I don't even know, like something like that, someone's dedicating, could you please pivot and dedicate your life to solving climate change? I feel like there's a lot of scientists who are out here still doing stuff where it's like, we don't need any more Doritos. Stay with me. I went to Target and there were 12 different kinds of new Cheerios, which I do support and I will eat them all in time. But I also don't want to die on this hell rock. So if you're a scientist or whatever, hey, take a minute and say, what could I be doing rather than some stupid.
So you think General Mills is misallocating their brain trust?
I mean, I'm just saying, let's have one day where every scientist just writes down how they think they could help solve climate change, because I know we're not doing it. I mean, we can talk about it, but in terms of like the actual practical science, we don't have it.
I don't know. I feel like we got a lot of people on climate change now.
Yeah,
right.
same.
I guess it's not the science that's the problem.
I just think it's like
capitalism.
Yeah.
There's a couple of problems, but yeah, way.
So ultimately, the problem with climate change and the problem with the NPC thing is the same.
It's exact same. It's capitalism.
Wow.
Look,
Yeah, okay.
love it. I feel your point about the scientists deeply, and I'm gonna, you guys can push back on this, but people are always like, you guys should do explainer videos. Why don't you do explainers? The best explainers were made from like 2012 to 2017. Like there are only so many things you can explain in a Vox style explainer video before you really start scraping the bottom of the barrel.
I'll push back
for like
on that.
how whales talk to each other, or like how the trains run on time in Japan, or like whatever the fuck you want to explain. There's only so many. The best ones have been taken.
Couldn't disagree more. There's new things every day. We just saw that NCP thing. I don't know. I'd like to have things explained to me. Yeah, okay, you don't have
Right.
to explain how a whale works, but there's other stuff going
I'm
on.
just sort of floored because, Elijah, I believe part of your job is coming up with interesting videos to explain things to our
talking about? My
audience.
God, Elijah.
No. I'm talking about evergreen explainers.
Everyone's already did it. Everyone already explained it. I think I can do. Come on, man.
I am.
Hey, you know what?
Beholden to the news cycle. I'm a news cycle
You know what
guy.
wasn't
I just
explained?
fast reward.
Hey, what happens when a sub implodes? I didn't know 2 weeks ago.
Me
I
either.
know a lot about it now.
Sure do. Don't want to ever experience it.
So there's a producer at Vox who pitched that idea years ago who was saying, I fucking told him. I told him that video would be doing that.
and
I'm
when
sure they did it.
And when Tom Cruise is lost in space,
Yes.
which is how that story ends.
That's where this is going.
There's going to be great explainers, and it's going to go like this. Why did Tom Cruise get lost in space? Because he couldn't kiss a boy. End of explainer.
And that goes back to Freud. And that's all that links back to Freud.
So I think, Halle, this is, I don't know, this is a
2,
tough one to grade.
2.5.
2?
Well,
Okay.
this
not
is just
super
something
hard.
Kendra sent you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kendra gets a 4. Kendra's a living. Kendra's a living. You know those Tibetan monks that live forever
Yes.
out of bones.
And somehow they don't die. Yes, no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's how Kendra is online. She is a living Buddhist monk of being dead from being terminally online, yet somehow walking the earth.
Knowing every facet of pop culture, I'm like, how do you come to work every day? She's married. They have a home.
She'll just always be like, wow, she's still doing that even though they're divorced? And it's like, you know about their divorce?
She knows.
She also loves the presidents, which is probably how she found this.
2. Giving Halle a 2.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Sure.
Brian, when were you 2 online this week?
So I didn't get the premise of the show. So I was 2 online when I found out my grandma had an Instagram. Because my dad texted me and he was like, you need to check on your grandma. And I was like, which grandma? Because they're both unwell. And he was like, the one on my side, whose name is but bleep that. And bleep that. And
Is she in the Discord?
Is Discord? I don't know. She can't operate anything, obviously, as we're about to find out from looking at her Facebook and Instagram. But I previously had to have a conversation with her. Facebook was too horny with a past boyfriend.
I don't think that's possible.
It is.
Give us an example.
Grandson's so good. Grandson's so good.
Grandma, you can see your feet in all these photos.
No. The actual answer is her boyfriend at the time they broke up. Like posted something about blue balls on her wall, which is So we didn't have to go there, but
that's horny.
I guess it is and it isn't. You know.
No, it is.
It is.
It is.
It is. What's the alternative?
I don't want to talk about it, but. So
why on earth would you not want to talk about your grandmother's sex life on a podcast?
And that's why I'm here. So my dad told me to check on my grandma. I said why. He said her Instagram with no follow-ups. So I went on her Facebook to find her Instagram, and on her Instagram I found out she is just like a meme queen. She is an animal. She cannot stop posting things.
I love it.
Often about like being like kooky, quirky, or like thinly veiled threats to like the men in her life to like not fucking leave. So I guess we're gonna see a few of those maybe.
We get to see them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the first one is a shirt that says "So tired," and her caption is "This could be my next tattoo."
Hell yeah.
Then nothing is sexier than a man who admits he wants you, shows how much he loves you, respects you, gives you time and attention, does anything to make you smile, and sees no other girls because he's too busy loving you. And then she says, "Worth sharing again."
Dead on.
Sharing herself. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she loves saying what makes a man sexy, and it's always just like giving me undivided attention and not looking at any other fucking living thing. And then this last one is, I try to be a good person, but then someone pulls out in front of me in 10 below the speed limit, and I got to try again tomorrow. And she said, "Oh, that's definitely me."
I love this.
You know what?
This is what posting should be.
This is what it is. This is what posting was. Yeah. This is how it began. This is social media in its purest essence, as God and San Francisco intended.
Yeah, what I like about it is that this is really more your grandmother being terminally online, but in a grandmother way. Like, compared to her friends, she's the most online person they've ever fucking met.
Oh, it's incredible. And it's only her friend Evelyn who likes her comments.
Hell yeah.
As you could see by all of them only having 1 or 0. Like, if it's 1, it's Evelyn. And
this is the grandmother that was at the insurrection?
yes. Actually, they were both at the insurrection.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but not together. They don't get along.
And only one survived, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what meme account she's following or how she learned to do that.
Can we have her on
She's following adult jokes according to the screenshots.
Yeah, there's a lot of adult jokes. I sent more that I guess didn't make the cut, but that's okay.
I think it's very sweet. I think that your grandmother deserves a 3, and that you get a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just not very online. Is kind of the.
You're not online.
No,
You don't have Instagram.
I don't have Instagram or Twitter or TikTok.
Well, you're a lurker. You said you're a lurker. We were talking about what you were going to do, and you say you just read comment sections. You spend like 5% of your time in the actual article, and then like 95% reading the comments and the discourse around it, which is
you kind of
very online
ratio
behavior.
yourself, but.
Is it inaccurate?
No, I would say I spend the vast majority of the time reading the article, Elijah.
Yeah, I would say.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
And because you're not online, you're able to listen to from what I can tell, every single podcast that comes out every week on every platform.
That's true. Most of my ideas for this were centered on other podcasts that I did not want to elevate. So I opted not to, and I chose to elevate my grandma instead.
Yeah, Brian goes behind enemy lines a lot.
That's true.
Oh, like what? Elevate him.
Brian consumes podcasts like it's a cure to an illness.
What's
that
the
he
illness,
has.
But in fact,
boss?
it's
I'm not sure.
It's the cause of it.
And the cause.
Yeah. Physician, heal thyself,
But you listen to everything.
I mean,
I do
you
listen to
still listen
everything.
to the Alec Baldwin podcast?
They stopped making the Alec Baldwin
Well,
podcast.
until the last one.
Which was a huge loss for me and only me.
He was famously a bit of a loose cannon on that show.
Yeah.
Hey-o.
Hey.
Hey-o.
He
It's not just on the show, right?
That's the joke.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
there. I was there.
Who was the Italian that killed her roommate, or the American that killed her roommate?
Amanda
Oh,
Knox. She
Amanda
didn't
Knox.
kill. She
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
Famously didn't.
He had Amanda Knox on her podcast and was like, "I totally get where you're coming from because like the media around my divorce was crazy also, and like, so like, yeah, I totally get being like the brunt of something that's totally unfair." And I was like,
She was
Oh my
tried
God.
for murder in
Yeah.
Italy.
Yeah.
Incredible.
He was like, the media can be brutal, can't they? And she was like, yeah, I was like tried for murder.
Oh my God.
Well, Brian, I think you did a good topic. I feel very hopeful now. That's the way posting should be.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyway, Brian, you're a 1.
I'm number
and
1.
I want to be a 5 this week. I am going on vacation next week, so I just want to go ahead and bring something I've been sitting on for a while, and this is good timing. It was in my algorithm for like a month plus now, and now it's coming onto Twitter because it's so absurd. It's so ridiculous. It's something called the Skibidi toilet. Have you guys heard of a Skibidi
haven't heard
toilet?
word one about the
Wait,
Skibidi toilet. What is
I
it?
have. Keep
Skibidi
going.
sounds like
Fuck
something
yeah,
you
I love
have on
that.
a
I
toilet.
have heard about it. Keep going.
It sounds like a toilet you'd have like an RV.
Or like a super nice bidet.
I had these pop up on my For You page like a month and a half ago. Let's look at the first clip.
My style is ridiculous.
Okay,
Terrifying.
so
That was terrifying.
why I am terminally online is that video popped up with absolutely no context around it on my For You
Well,
page.
you have to
and
describe
Yeah,
it.
you have to tell them what it was.
Right, my bad. I've committed my own cardinal sin here. What we just watched is a poorly animated 3D animation of a POV, like you're, in someone's shoes, and that person walks up to a toilet, and the toilet turns around, and a head pops up out of it and starts singing "Skibidi dum dum duminus," yes, "Skibidi duminum."
Wait, what song is that?
It sounds like the NPCs.
I'm gonna get into it. I'm going to explain
Oh
what the song
God,
is.
it's gonna be
Don't
so
worry.
long. Go ahead.
And then, he flushes the head down the toilet, and then several of the toilets start running at him, and then a giant toilet comes at him, and then he maybe dies at the end. It's unclear. When I first saw this without any context, I understood every single part of it perfectly just from being online, seeing other trends. Let's start with what they're singing. It's a mashup of two previous trends. One is the song Party Party. I believe that's what it's called, which was big last year. Leo, do you want to play the Zoolander clip?
If you see us in the club, we'll be acting real nice.
So that was trending audio for a while. Leo, do you want to play the Skibidi Fat Turkish Man clip?
I'm so mad.
There's
Oh, I
a
like
man
him.
dancing. He's very, very charismatic.
Yeah, but slow.
So those were two trending audios. They've been combined to make this new trending audio, which is in all of these videos. And then the actual footage is from a video game called Half-Life 2, which came out a while ago.
Oh, it's not from Ukraine?
No, it's not from Ukraine. This is just something that this guy like made and has been posting without context. The thing about this is,
What could the context be?
Yeah, I don't know what it could be possibly.
well, they're delightful. Like there's something so absurd and ridiculous and funny about them. Like we were all laughing. Like Halle and Brian had the same reaction that I had when I first saw them. How many views do you think that video has that I just shared, the first one on YouTube Shorts?
I'll be honest, I don't care.
I'll be honest, I care a lot. And I'm gonna say
Throw it out there.
3.5 million.
I'm gonna
Try. Oh, go ahead, Love It.
well, no, it's gonna be a very big number. I'll say 4 million.
Try 96 million.
My God.
They're so huge. I don't know. And the thing is, you guys have never heard of it.
So Elijah, so the thing about what's interesting about this is like, you and I have talked about how our algorithms, they live side by side, and it's interesting what crosses over and what doesn't. Because in the same way you were served Skibidi Toilet, I was served Ice Cream So Good. I have not seen any of the Skibidi Toilet videos themselves, but Skibidi Toilet discourse has been in my feed, and I didn't really know what it was. I just was aware that people were debating and discussing Skibidi Toilet.
I like to enjoy things that way. I like seeing the discourse first and then having to figure it out. Or just, if I were to see that, I'd be like, I know eventually it'll be shown to me. I don't need to rush it. I'm allowed to hear about it. And then when eventually it shows up, I'll say that was Skibidi Toilet. I like that.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
It's a great song.
I really like it, actually.
It's really catchy.
I
yeah.
didn't realize it was from Half-Life 2, which is a great game.
Yes. Well, no. So each of these TikToks,
the toilets aren't. The
YouTube
toilets are replacing bugs, I assume, the kind of crabby things.
Yes, and like the visual engine that he's making this in is like the Half-Life 2 engine, which is why they look so bad, because it's like an older game. But in each of these little, vignettes, they tell a larger story of like a race of toilet people are taking over the world, and they're led by the G-Man toilet, who's like a major character in Half-Life 2. So that guy we saw at the end is the G-Man toilet. And again, just something I knew off the top of my head. I was like, oh, look, there you go. That's of course he's the big bad toilet person.
Now, Elijah, do you know that the Half-Life universe and the Portal universe are one universe? Do you know? Of
course, I'm all about Valve, man. I got it.
Another thing that
you're pretty online.
Yeah, I'm pretty online. It's another thing that capitalism destroyed because Valve made some of because Valve was one of the great video game makers. They made some of the best. They had just a run of hits. They're some of the best video games of all time. But then they figured out that it was a better business not to make games, but to create the platform Steam that sells games. And so instead of being a creator, they became a store. And they never made a Portal 3 or Half-Life 3. Half-Life 3 was something I think people talked about for a long time, but never happened.
I would be fascinated because I don't know anyone who else watches these, but I think a lot of kids watch them. So if you're listening, if you have kids, I would love to run an experiment where if you can just drop like, I haven't seen anything so bad since I saw the G-Man toilet, and just see if they respond to that.
Hey, and if you have kids, and if you do have kids, I want you to take the iPads you have in your house. I want you to throw them in the garbage.
Yeah, you gotta.
Just throw them in the garbage. Thank you.
And then sit him down and have the G-Man toilet chat that you've been dreading.
You have to. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The birds in the G-Man toilet.
Well, look, the discourse that Lovett's referencing, it's like the next generation is screwed if this is what they're watching. And I'll say, like the Ice Cream So Good, it's not that serious. It's just some funny thing online.
I don't know. I think they said that about our generation, and we are screwed. So I would say that, in fact, they probably are right.
I'm in denial.
Yeah, no, we're all pretty fucked up
Yeah, I don't know what they say. Like, oh, we turned out fine. What are you talking about? I didn't.
I don't.
None of us
I'm on
did.
my grandma's Instagram.
I woke up at 1:30 in the morning and then watched this woman be an NPC for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, all of us are deeply damaged by the internet. Isn't that the premise of this whole bit we do every week? Elijah,
Well,
my God.
So do I get the 5? Did I get
No.
what I came here to get?
I'm giving you a 0, and here's why.
We're not saying what's happening isn't what we would call normal, but sometimes what's become normal
Yeah.
is so wrong that we can no longer see it.
And that's what makes you
The
a
boiled
0.
frog.
I think
That's
in fact
what-
you've gone all the way back around. This is not online at all. You saw something and you understood it.
The
That's not,
frogs
that's not
jump
online.
out, Elijah, but we have no place to go.
We're just all here, man.
The whole
the frogs-
planet's the water, my friend.
The frogs don't jump out. That's the point.
No, they do jump out because it's stupid. Because the frog's like, it's getting hot. I'm out.
It's ice cream ganging all the way down.
No one sits in hot water till they're dead. Not a frog, not a person.
I've never
We
tried, but I think I might.
When you sit into a toilet.
Elijah, 5 for you. 5. You're fucking dead. Go on vacation.
So let's recap. Lovett's a 5.
I'm a 4.
Halle,
I'm a 4. I'm a
0.
4. I'm a 4. You're a 5. I'm
Zero.
a 4. Hallie's a 1. Brian's a 1. Kendra's
Okay.
a 5. A living
Kendra's a
5.
Yeah.
A living
Good
living
recap.
Tibetan 5.
Yeah.
Let's end with the advice column. Best name segment at the company. Barbenheimer is finally here. What's the right way to see these movies? Same day? What's the order? Let's get definitive.
So there's a lot of people that are planning to see Barbie and Oppenheimer as a double feature. I think that that's like morally reprehensible. Are they both going to be great? It seems so.
Mhm.
Are they very complementary? It seems so. But you don't go have the best meal of your month and then before driving home go to a different kind of restaurant and have another amazing meal.
That still
Two-
sounds like something you do, though. We've just said it like you told me you've never done that in your life.
Here's the other thing too, is Christopher Nolan made Oppenheimer. He somehow convinced these studios, when they weren't busy cutting down trees, to give him like $100 million to shoot in IMAX a 3-hour biopic of a nuclear scientist. A film by his own account leaves people feeling terrible.
Mhm.
That is an amazing achievement. That is an amazing thing to get Hollywood to do in the year 2023. And so I salute that. I applaud that. I don't think there's any wrong way to see them. I am going to make sure that I see Oppenheimer in full 70 millimeter IMAX. And I am seeing it. So the theaters that do the full 70 millimeter IMAX are all basically sold out. So I had to get tickets on Monday. And I think that's going to be the best group of people on earth you could possibly see it with. Because they're the people who knew you had to see it in 70 millimeter IMAX, but are not so fucking lame and online.
Get
and
'em.
They have lives. So they didn't realize they had to buy the tickets in advance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you know how you're not supposed to talk to your partner if you're angry, hungry, lonely, or tired?
What?
Lonely?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to talk to him when
You're not supposed to have a serious conversation
What
with
are
your
you
partner
gonna
if
do-
you're
what are you-
angry, hungry, lonely, or tired.
What are you gonna do? Like every couple weeks to check in?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's
I'm like always one of those.
Okay, well,
Always 3 of those.
I think you should talk to your partner if you're lonely, and you just tell them I'm feeling lonely.
yeah, but I don't think talk to them in the moment you're lonely. If
It
you're
was-
chronically
This is
lonely,
a very.
We
this
at-
is.
We
shocking.
attacked. Look, in fairness to Brian, that was a premise for a statement
Yes,
he
I'm
wants
sorry.
to
Go
still
ahead.
make.
Yeah,
Which is-
I was
which is-
blown away.
coming after a 3-hour movie, you're gonna be either angry, hungry, lonely, or tired. And don't watch Barbie when you're one of those
It
things.
definitely, if you're gonna do the double feature, it's definitely not. The problem is you don't want to go Barbie Oppenheimer. You don't want to go up to down, but at the same time you don't want to do Oppenheimer Barbie because it's 3 hours into kind of a romp.
Exactly.
You don't want to go romp long and sad, but you also don't want to go sad and long romp.
You don't
So-
want to. You don't want to be in a dark box for 6 hours. You're gonna grow to resent your setting.
I say I'm gonna take shrooms and go see Barbie, and if I have it in me, I'll stay for Oppenheimer. But I almost certainly won't. I know I will go home and then I'll watch it the way I watch every drama, which is December before award season. So I'm sure I will not see it in theaters.
I'm just going to go when I can.
Also, if
That'll
you're
be fun.
watching this, or if you're listening to this, or however, whatever sense you're using to perceive what's going on,
Man.
the Crooked merch store has some incredible new merch, including a sort of a Barbie font, a T-shirt that says "Bodily Autonomy." That is extremely cool. You should go buy it. Oh, and you should also buy this shirt while you're at it.
What's the shirt? How I leave trans kids alone. You absolute freaks. It went viral recently because a guy,
David
famous
Tennant
guy.
wore
David
it?
Tennant. Ever heard of him?
Ever heard of him?
No, I hadn't heard of him. Sorry.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
You haven't heard of David
like
Tennant? You
the most famous British person.
You uncultured internet heathen.
You swine.
He's got a podcast actually that I listen to.
So you don't know who David Tennant is?
I watched Skibidi
But you know who
Toilet, you say
Pinkydoll?
I'm
Yeah, you know
uncultured.
who
you're
Skibidi
Skibidi
Toilet.
Your whole life is.
And that'll
Skibidi
wrap up
Toilet.
this episode of Terminally Online. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all next week.